Have you ever found yourself in that confusing, emotionally charged space where a man who is already committed, married, or with a girlfriend is actively seeking your attention? It's a situation that can feel both flattering and deeply unsettling. A part of you might feel chosen, special, as if you possess something his current partner lacks. But another part, the wiser, quieter part, probably feels a sense of unease, a question that echoes in your mind. What does he actually want from me? Psychology suggests the answer is far more complex and has much less to do with you than you might think. He isn't necessarily seeking you, the real whole person. He is seeking what you represent. You have, in his mind, become a symbol, a powerful projection of his own unmet needs, his hidden desires, and the parts of his life he feels are missing. Let's be clear from the start. This exploration isn't about judging him, his partner, or you. It's about understanding the deep-seated human behaviors that drive these complicated dynamics. When a man in a relationship looks outside of it, he is often on a subconscious quest. He is looking for a feeling, an experience, or an identity that he believes he has lost or perhaps never had. You, in this moment, become the answer to a question he hasn't even consciously asked himself. He might tell you that you're exciting, that you understand him in a way his partner doesn't, or that with you he feels alive again. And while those words may feel intoxicating, it's crucial to look beneath them. What he is really saying is that his life has become predictable, that he feels misunderstood, and that he feels stagnant. He isn't seeing you. He is seeing a reflection of his own desire for novelty, validation, and escape. This is a fundamental concept in understanding human connection. Projection. We all do it. We project our hopes, fears, and fantasies onto others. But in this specific scenario, the projection is incredibly intense. He may be projecting the idea of the perfect lover, the understanding soulmate, or the free spirit onto you. He creates a narrative in his mind where you are the missing piece of his puzzle. The danger in this is that he is not engaging with the real you. He is interacting with a story he has created about you. Have you ever felt that pressure? The pressure to be the cool girl, the understanding one, the one who doesn't make demands? That feeling comes from the unspoken reality that you are playing a role in his internal drama, not building a genuine connection based on mutual reality. His desire isn't for a partnership with you, it's for the temporary relief you, as a symbol, provide from his own life. This dynamic is rarely about a simple lack of love in his current relationship. More often, it's about a lack of something within himself. Perhaps he feels he's settled down too early and missed out on a life of adventure. You might represent that adventure. Perhaps his career has stalled or become mundane, and he feels a loss of power or ambition. Your admiration might feel like a substitute for that professional validation. The core of what he wants is a feeling of more excitement, more validation, more life. But he is looking for it in the wrong place. He's trying to solve an internal problem with an external solution. Think of it like being incredibly thirsty and trying to quench that thirst by buying a new painting. The painting might be beautiful and distracting, but it will never solve the underlying need. You are the beautiful painting. But his thirst remains because it comes from a place deep inside him, a place you can never truly reach or fix for him. Recognizing this is the first step toward reclaiming your own power and clarity in a situation designed to confuse you. So, what are these hidden parts of himself that he's projecting onto you? This leads us to one of the most profound ideas in psychology, the concept of the shadow. Think of the shadow as everything a person has repressed or disowned about themselves to fit into society, their family, or their own self-image. It's the collection of impulses, desires, and traits that we're taught are bad, unacceptable, or irresponsible. It's the wild, untamed part of us that gets locked away as we grow up and take on adult responsibilities. For many men who have followed a conventional path, the good student, the reliable employee, the committed partner, this shadow can grow very large and very restless. He hasn't integrated these parts of himself. He has simply ignored them. And then he meets you. He doesn't see you just as an attractive or interesting person. He sees you as the embodiment of his own lost freedom. Perhaps you are more spontaneous, more creative, or more emotionally expressive than he allows himself to be. In his eyes, you live a life free from the constraints that he feels are suffocating him. He is drawn to you not because he wants to be with you, but because on a deep, unconscious level, he wants to be you. Or more accurately, he wants to reclaim the parts of himself that he sees reflected in you. This is why the connection can feel so electric and powerful. It's not just two people getting to know each other. It's one person desperately trying to connect with a lost piece of their own soul through another. Have you ever felt like he puts you on a pedestal? Praising your independence, your spirit, your courage. Often, what he is admiring is the very thing he feels he has sacrificed in his own life. This is a form of emotional and psychological outsourcing. Instead of doing the hard internal work of facing his own dissatisfaction, of asking himself, why do I feel trapped? What choices did I make to get here? How can I find fulfillment within the life I have chosen? He seeks a shortcut. You become the shortcut. The secret texts, the stolen moments, the shared glances, they create a fantasy world, a separate reality where he can temporarily shed the skin of the responsible partner and become the adventurous, desired man he longs to be. This is a powerful form of avoidance. He is avoiding the difficult, honest conversations with his partner. He is avoiding the uncomfortable truth that his unhappiness is his own responsibility. And most of all, he is avoiding himself. Think about it. Engaging with you requires far less courage than turning inward. A clandestine affair or flirtation is built on fantasy. It exists outside the realm of daily responsibilities, bills, and shared histories. It's a curated highlight reel. A real committed relationship requires navigating the mundane, the difficult, and the imperfect. By seeking you, he gets to experience the thrill of connection without the weight of reality. He wants the feeling of being desired without the responsibility that comes with genuine intimacy. He wants the validation of being chosen without having to make a definitive choice himself. What he wants from you is a vacation from his life, and more profoundly, a vacation from himself. The problem is, you are not a vacation destination. You are a person, and your emotional world is the landscape where he has chosen to play out his internal conflict. Understanding this is not about blaming him, but about seeing the dynamic with clear eyes. You are not the solution to his problems. You are a symptom of his refusal to face them. Let's go deeper into the mechanics of this dynamic, because it's often maintained by a powerful psychological principle that can make it feel incredibly addictive for you. Have you noticed the pattern? The intense bursts of attention followed by periods of silence. The heartfelt confessions of his unhappiness followed by days where he seems distant, consumed by his other life. This hot and cold behavior isn't just confusing. It's a form of what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement. Think of it like a slot machine. You don't win every time you pull the lever. In fact, you lose most of the time. But the unpredictable nature of the reward, the occasional win, is what keeps you pulling it, hoping the next one will be the jackpot. In this situation, his attention is the reward. His validation is the jackpot. When he gives it to you, your brain's reward system lights up. It feels good. But because it's inconsistent and unpredictable, you never know when it's coming next. This uncertainty keeps you hooked. You find yourself checking your phone, rereading old messages, and analyzing his every word, trying to figure out the formula that will bring back that good feeling. Subtly, without even realizing it, your focus shifts from your own life to his. Your emotional state becomes dependent on his actions. This is precisely what he wants, even if he isn't consciously aware of it. He wants an escape that is readily available but requires minimal, inconsistent effort to maintain. He doesn't have the capacity or the intention to offer you a stable, consistent presence. So his inconsistency becomes the very tool that keeps you engaged. This creates a powerful illusion of specialness. He will often frame the dynamic as a unique, secret bond that exists only between the two of you. He might tell you things he can't tell anyone else, especially not his partner. This makes you feel like an insider, a confidant. You're not just another person. You are the one who truly sees him. This narrative is incredibly compelling. It taps into a deep human desire to be seen and understood. But it's important to ask, what is the nature of this understanding? You are understanding the curated, edited version of his life, the part that is full of longing and dissatisfaction. You are not seeing the full picture. The history he shares with his partner, the quiet moments of comfort, the financial and social structures that keep them together. He is giving you a keyhole view of his life and making you feel as though you can see the entire room. From a Stoic perspective, this is where you can begin to reclaim your inner freedom. The ancient Stoics taught that our suffering doesn't come from external events, but from our judgments about them. You cannot control his choices, his feelings for his partner, or whether he texts you today. Trying to control these things is a recipe for anxiety and heartache. The only thing you truly have control over is your own perception and your own response. The empowering question is not, how can I make him choose me? But rather, why am I allowing my peace to be dependent on someone who offers me uncertainty? The focus shifts from him back to you. Why does this particular brand of validation feel so important right now? What need within you is this unpredictable attention fulfilling? The moment you turn the camera back onto yourself, the illusion begins to lose its power. You start to see that what he wants from you is for you to remain in a state of hopeful waiting, because it serves his need for an escape without costing him the security of his primary relationship. Now let's examine the role of social conditioning and the archetypal stories we all carry inside us. Society often tells us a very specific story about love and value, especially for women. This story suggests that your worth is tied to your ability to be chosen, to be the one. This narrative is woven into fairy tales, movies, and songs. The princess is chosen by the prince. The heroine wins the hero's heart against all odds. When a man who is already taken seeks you out, it can unconsciously activate this powerful, deeply ingrained script. It presents a high-stakes competition. If you can win him from another, it can feel like the ultimate validation. It seems to prove that you are more desirable, more special, more worthy. This is the savior or rescuer archetype at play. He comes to you with a story of being trapped in a loveless or misunderstood relationship. He paints a picture of himself as a victim of circumstance, and you are positioned as the only one who can save him, the only one who truly understands his sensitive soul. It's an incredibly tempting role to step into. It makes you feel powerful, needed, and uniquely important. Have you ever felt that pull? The desire to heal his pain, to be the reason he finally finds happiness? This is a very common and very human response. We are wired for connection and empathy. But in this context, the rescuer role is a trap. It keeps you focused on his needs, his problems, and his happiness, while your own needs are put on hold. What he truly wants from you in this scenario is a willing audience for his victim narrative. He needs someone to witness his struggle without challenging it. Think about it. If you were to ask him the hard questions, what steps have you taken to communicate this to your partner? Have you suggested counseling? What is your plan for changing the situation you're in? The fantasy would likely crumble. Those are questions rooted in reality and responsibility. The fantasy he's building with you is designed to avoid precisely that. He doesn't want a partner in problem solving. He wants an escape from the problem. Your unquestioning sympathy becomes the fuel that keeps his story going. He can feel like a tragic hero in his own mind, and you are the compassionate soul who validates that identity. This dynamic also preys on a hidden fear many of us carry, the fear of not being enough. When you are the other woman, you are in a constant, implicit comparison with his existing partner. This can trigger a subconscious drive to prove your worth. You might find yourself being more agreeable, more exciting, more accommodating, trying to be everything his partner supposedly is not. You are essentially auditioning for a role that is not, and may never be, available. What he wants from you is this effort. He wants the ego boost that comes from having two people's energy focused on him. It temporarily soothes his own deep-seated insecurities. By keeping you in a state of hopeful auditioning, he gets to feel desirable and powerful, all without having to make any real, courageous changes in his own life. The moment you stop auditioning and start asking what you want, what you need, and what you deserve, the power dynamic shifts entirely. You move from being a character in his story to becoming the author of your own. So, how do you begin to disentangle yourself from this emotionally draining and psychologically complex situation? The path forward isn't about blaming him or shaming yourself. It's about a radical act of turning your attention inward. It's about recognizing that this situation, as painful as it may be, is a powerful mirror. It is reflecting back to you something within your own inner world that needs your attention. The intense feelings he evokes, the excitement, the validation, the longing, the frustration, are all clues. They are signposts pointing toward your own unmet needs and unresolved questions. What he wants from you is for you to remain focused on him. What your personal growth requires is for you to focus on yourself. Start by asking a simple yet profound question. What feeling am I getting from this connection that I am not currently giving to myself? Is it a feeling of being special? Of being seen? Of excitement? Let's say the primary feeling is excitement. The conventional response is to believe that he is the source of that excitement. But a deeper psychological truth is that he is merely the trigger for an excitement that already exists within you as a potential. The real question then becomes, how can I create healthy, sustainable excitement in my own life without him? This could mean pursuing a new hobby, taking a creative risk, traveling to a new place, or setting an ambitious personal goal. The goal is to become the source of your own vitality, so you no longer need to borrow it from an unreliable and external source. You stop outsourcing your joy. This is the essence of becoming your own true self, what some psychologists call the process of individuation. It's about separating your identity and your emotional well-being from the validation of others. You begin to consciously withdraw the projections you have placed on him. You may have projected the idea of the perfect partner or the one who will complete me onto him. Now you must reclaim those projections. You recognize that the qualities you admired in him, perhaps his confidence, his charm, or his ambition, are qualities that you can cultivate within yourself. He is not the answer. He is simply a reflection of a part of you that is ready to be born. This process requires a level of honesty that can be uncomfortable. You have to be willing to look at the empty spaces in your own life that made his attention feel so compelling. Were you feeling lonely? Were you bored? Were you questioning your own desirability? There is no shame in any of these feelings. They are universally human. The shame only comes from refusing to acknowledge them. By looking at them directly, you take away their power. You can then begin to address them constructively. Instead of using his attention as a temporary balm for loneliness, you can start building stronger, more authentic friendships. Instead of using him to feel desirable, you can work on building a foundation of self-worth that is unshakable regardless of who is or isn't paying attention to you. What he wants is for you to need his validation. Your path to freedom is to discover that you never did. You only needed to validate yourself. Let's address a very important and often painful aspect of this dynamic: the hope for a different future. A significant part of what he wants from you is for you to hold on to that hope. The possibility that he might leave his partner for you is the invisible thread that keeps the connection alive. It's the what if that fuels the entire emotional affair. He may not even say the words, "I'm going to leave her," but he will plant seeds of doubt about his current relationship. He will share moments of unhappiness, highlight their incompatibilities, and create a narrative that suggests the relationship is on its last legs. This keeps you invested. It makes you feel like if you are patient enough, understanding enough, and supportive enough, you will eventually be rewarded with the prize of a legitimate relationship. This is a masterful, though often unconscious, form of psychological manipulation. He is using a potential future as leverage to get what he needs in the present: your attention, your validation, and your emotional energy. He gets all the benefits of an intimate connection with you without having to face any of the real-world consequences or responsibilities. Think about the structure of this arrangement. He has his stable home life, his social standing, and the comfort of his primary relationship. And then he has you, the exciting, validating escape. He is, in essence, trying to have the best of both worlds. For this to work, you must be willing to live in a state of suscept reality, waiting in the wings of his life. A powerful shift occurs when you stop focusing on his words and start looking at his actions. His actions are the only truth in this situation. Does he speak of unhappiness but to go on vacations with his partner? Does he tell you he feels trapped but make no tangible moves toward separation? Does he promise a future with you but remain fully enmeshed in a life without you? Actions reveal commitment, while words can be used to maintain a fantasy. A core principle of behavioral psychology is that past behavior is the best predictor of future behavior. If he has spent months or even years in this state of indecision, it is the indecision itself that is the decision. He has chosen the status quo. His inaction is a choice. Your power lies in accepting this reality. It is not your job to wait for someone to become available. It is not a testament to your love or loyalty to put your life on hold for a possibility that is entirely outside of your control. This is where a stoic mindset becomes your greatest ally. You must learn to separate what is in your control from what is not. His relationship with his partner is not in your control. His personal courage and integrity are not in your control. The only thing you can control is whether you participate in a dynamic that requires you to sacrifice your present for someone else's hypothetical future. What he wants from you is your patience, but what you owe yourself is your presence, your full, undivided presence in your own life. When you fully commit to living your life now, without waiting for him to make a choice, you will find that the space he occupied in your mind begins to shrink. You fill that space with your own purpose, your own joy, and your own authentic connections until there is simply no room left for his uncertainty. Finally, let's explore the game of this entire dynamic and the path toward genuine self-mastery. What does he ultimately want from you? He wants you to remain a secret. The secrecy is not a bug in the system, it is the core feature. It's what allows the fantasy to exist. Secrecy creates a bubble, a special world outside of time and consequence where he can be a different version of himself. Within this bubble, he doesn't have to be a husband or a boyfriend. He can be a romantic hero, a misunderstood artist, a free spirit. You are the keeper of this secret world. Your silence and discretion are the price of admission. This is why the connection often feels so intense. Secrets create a powerful artificial bond between two people. You are united not just by your feelings, but by the shared risk of exposure. This need for secrecy reveals the most fundamental truth of the situation. He is not trying to build something real with you. Real relationships thrive in the light. They are integrated into our lives, shared with our fries and families, and built on a foundation of honesty. A connection that depends on darkness to survive is not a connection. It is a compartment. You have been placed in a compartment of his life, separate from all the other parts. And the nature of compartments is that they are designed to contain things, to keep them from spilling over into the main structure. He wants you to stay in your box. He may decorate it with pretty words and promises of a future, but its purpose is to contain you, to manage the role you play in his life, ensuring it never threatens his primary reality. Have you ever noticed how he controls the flow of information? How you might know all about his partner, his job, and his struggles, but he knows relatively little about the deep complexities of your life? This is not an accident. It is a way of maintaining distance and ensuring that you remain a character in his drama, rather than a real person with your own needs and demands. The more he knows about your real life, your challenges, your family, your dreams, the more real you become and the harder it is for him to maintain the fantasy. He wants an idealized version of you, not the messy, complicated, wonderful reality of who you are. The ultimate act of reclaiming your power is to refuse to be a secret. This doesn't necessarily mean a dramatic confrontation or exposure. It is an internal decision. It is the moment you decide that you are worthy of a love that can exist in the daylight. It is the realization that a love that requires you to hide is not love. It is a compromise of your integrity. The moment you make this decision, your perception changes. The stolen moments no longer feel romantic. They feel insufficient. The secret texts no longer feel exciting. They feel like a reminder of your secondary position. You begin to crave the simple dignity of a relationship that doesn't require you to lie or to be lied to. This is the culmination of your journey through this difficult experience. You have moved from confusion to clarity. You have seen how his desire was a projection of his own shadow, how his inconsistency was a tool of reinforcement, and how his promises were a means of securing your hope. Now you arrive at the final, empowering truth. What he wants from you is a fantasy that serves his needs. But what this experience can give you is a profound opportunity for self-discovery. It can teach you to become the source of your own validation, to build a life so full of purpose and authentic connection that you would never settle for being a secret. The real victory is not in winning him, but in choosing yourself so completely that the question of him becomes irrelevant. Your peace comes not from his decision, but from your own. He wanted an escape, but in leaving you find your freedom. He wants you to be the solution to his internal division, but true peace comes from refusing to be divided yourself.